not having like a set friend group in your adult life is absolutely debilitating, and I feel like not enough people talk about it. Like, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just like the position in life that I'm in right now that I'm experiencing this, and like I'm just genuinely struggling with the concept of it. But like, it sucks so much not having people that you like regularly talk to, people that like you regularly check up on you, that you check up on, like people that genuinely care about you on a daily basis, or even just people that you genuinely feel like you fit in with. Like, I have friends. I'm not going to lie and say I don't have anyone. Like, I have people that I would consider my friends, but like I don't have anyone except for one person that I would consider my close friend, best friend, whatever. And even then, it's like me and that one other person, like our lives are so drastically different, like how we live is different and everything. And we still love each other the same, but it's just like, it's hard when you don't have like people that have common mindsets or common lifestyles or whatever that you interact with on a daily basis. And there were points in my life where I did have like friends or like a solid friend group, but I was never like part of the main group. I was always like the backup friend, and maybe that's just because I'm weird. I'm a weird person, and that's fine, and I've always accepted that. But like, when I had my son is when I first really realized it, because all of the people that I spent time with before that, like none of them have kids. They all live like, unmarried, childless lives, which is fine. That's fantastic. If that's a choice you make, that's wonderful. If you're happy doing that, that's amazing. And I'm so happy for you. But like, that's not the path that I wanted to go down. So when I had my son, like obviously I made changes in my life. There were things that I just didn't do anymore. Like, my focus has changed, and I fell out of like those friend groups, and those friend groups honestly weren't even all that satisfying, like mentally and emotionally anyways. And then when I became Muslim, like the divide just deepened so much. Like, the few friendships that I did hold on to, like through having a kid and stuff, like they dissipated really quickly. And I genuinely just think that comes down to like, the lifestyle I was living before did not fit into like the Islamic lifestyle whatsoever. The friendships I had, like those people were not religious at all. Like, they didn't understand, like, especially being like American, it's not like, not a lot of people, unless you live in an area where there's like a huge Muslim population, like there is going to be a lot of social isolation that happens. And I expected that, but it's just like, it's almost been a year now since I've become Muslim, and I still feel so lonely sometimes, and it genuinely sucks. And like, that's not to say that like the Muslim community here hasn't, created bonds with me. I have a lot of like friends and acquaintances in the Muslim community where I live, but it's different because like their lives are so much different than mine. And even like when we get together for like majlis, or like when we all go to prayer at the Husainiya or anything, it's like, it's just hard for me in general to fit into conversation because all of my friends are Arab, and their first language and main language is Arabic. And so when they're having conversations, it's just easier for them to have them in Arabic. And I'm kind of just like sitting there and smiling. And it genuinely, like, there's been a few times at like a few different like events that like everyone is sitting around and having their conversations, and I'm like sitting there just watching everybody else like connect with people, and it's like made me so emotional. Like, I literally have been on the edge of tears like multiple times in rooms full of people because I felt so lonely. Then I just like get to this point where like I try too hard to be involved with the people around me. I try too hard to make friends. I try too hard to make everybody like me too much, and it's just like, it's more off-putting than me just sitting there doing nothing. And like, it genuinely just like the level of companionship that a human being needs is so hard to obtain when your life has changed in any way. Like, when you've gone through any sort of like big life moments, life changes, like you lose companionship, and it genuinely like it's so disheartening. And people think that I'm being cute or I'm like so motherly when I tell them like my son is my best friend. Like my 3-year-old son is my best friend. He's my everything. You know, he's the person that I get my emotional stability from, but it's really like it's almost out of necessity. And the thing is that I don't want to put that pressure on my kid. Like we see a lot about like, you know, single mothers like putting romantic pressure on their sons, and it's not like that, but it's just like I lack companionship in my life, and the only person who like I consistently interact with is my son. And I don't want him to go through like any sort of like crazy weird emotional situations because his mom doesn't have any friends. Like, and I think that's a really big reason that like up until recently, like I was chasing the idea of marriage so heavily, was because I was just craving like deep companionship, like emotional intimacy with people. And like in my mind I was like, well, if I get married, like that's where that companionship comes from, which is true. And like, you know, a lot can be said about, you know, like the just the Muslim marriage crisis in the Western world in general, but like even then, like the type of companionship that you get from a spouse or a romantic relationship or whatever is not the same as friends. Like, yeah, it's a very deep form of mental emotional intimacy, but like the type of mental emotional intimacy that you get from having just friends, platonic relationships, is so different and so like so much more fulfilling in different ways. And like my whole body is craving that. Like, and the worst part about all of this in my specific situation is like it's genuinely been so long since I have had a like genuine friendship, if I've even had one at all, because when I think of like, you know, the strongest friendships I've had, like they were incredibly toxic and terrible, and I hated almost every single minute of being in them. Like I was just there because I didn't have any other friends, and when, you know, somebody else was busy, like they would have plans with me or invite me places, or even if it was just an excuse to have somebody to make fun of or talk about later. Like I just like I don't know how to be friends. Like I don't know how to do the give and take when it comes to caring about somebody. Like I don't know how to provide the type of companionship that I need so that it's not like a one-sided situation. And I'm at the point I get so scared to try and form deep friendships with people and like have these, you know, emotional bridges with people because of the way that I was treated in the past, that I just don't like. You know, I've had opportunities to build strong friendships, especially in the last year, and I looking back, definitely avoided them. Like I didn't put in the effort that I needed to, and it was just out of fear. Like it was genuinely out of the fear of being judged, the fear of being like taken advantage of. And like looking back now, I've been Muslim for almost a year, and it's like I've developed in so many ways, mentally and spiritually, but it's like emotionally I've like gone downhill so much because I don't have the support system that I need. And on top of all of that, I don't even have family. Like my son is literally my only family. So it's like I don't even have like a mom or a dad or a brother or a sister or anyone who by blood or by law is supposed to care about me. Like I literally have no one. And like my 3-year-old can be like, "Are you okay? Mommy sad?" And of course, like I'm gonna lie to him because I don't want him to see me struggle, but it's just like, I don't know. Lately it's been hitting me like a brick wall, like how sad it is. And maybe it's just seasonal depression, like it's already getting cold and dark, but it's just like, wow, I'm almost 30 and I am alone.